Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Surya Saputra, and my student number is 39 2020 052. Uh, Now I want to give a brief explain about my thesis proposal. Uh, let's do the that's my title of my thesis is about a translation analysis on translating cultural words in the novel Tuesday with Mori by Mitch Albom. We're going to the introduction. Why I make this thesis is because as social beings, language is one of the requirements that must be fulfilled. And in the era of globalization, the internet allows us to communicate with, with people from the different background, different nationalities, and different religion. And that's that why to facilitate communication, people must know about cross-cultural language, cross-language communication. Thus, uh, translation becomes a bridge for people to understand cross-language communication that which is from the book, from the novel, or from the internet, something like that. And here, from this thesis, it's tends to talk about the accuracy and what is I find about the cultural world from the novel To Stay with Mori. And my research question here is about the first is what cultural words are found in the novel To Stay with Mori. The second one is what translation procedures that the translator used to translate the cultural words. Next is about the third, how is the accuracy of the cultural words in the translation in Indonesian novel, also from English novel to Indonesian novel of Tuesday with Mori. And my research objective is to find out the cultural word contained in the novel entitled Tuesday with Mori. The second is to know the translation, the translator's translation procedure for this kind of cultural words. And the third is to find out the translation accuracy of the cultural words. And my previous study is the first is from Widita, Liliana, and Indah. Is here and in their thesis is analyze the cultural words in such a way in the conditions like they have analyzed the cultural word, but in the different novel, different books. And then there are some of from the Gusti Ayu Madirai Swarmiti from the Faculty of Letters Warmadewa University Denpasar Bali that examines the moral value. That's such a same thing, same book with me, but Gusti Ayu Madirai Swarniti is more talk about the term, the value, education, society, and civilization, moral, ethnic from the Tuesday with Mori. That there are differences with me because I find out about the cultural word and what is the procedure that the translators did from to translate this novel. Next is about my theoretical framework. According to the Newmark, everything you taught in one language can be expressed in another provided the two languages and come from cultures that have advanced to a similar level. And here, Newmark have divided in cultural world into five. There are ecology, material culture, social culture, work and leisure, their organization custom ideas, and the last is about gesture and habits. And beside that, Newmark also provide a translation procedure to have to help the translator to make such a how to translate it well. And there are like transference, naturalization, cultural equivalent, functional equivalent, descriptive equivalent, componential analysis, synonym, true translation, shift or transposition, modulation, recognized translation, compensation, paraphrase, couplet, and notes. And the last is about notes. Next is about the accuracy of the translation. This is my research objective. Next is about the accuracy of translation. Sorry, I forget to next this slide. However, the translation accuracy is an important thing that must be added to be translators in the translation process. And Larson, Insafi, and Salija explained that accuracy tests are also described in several ways. That there is during the process, the translation process, the translator must be compare the translation result with the source text at several points in the total project. After that, and when the first comparison is complete, then the translator need to do more careful comparison again. Then the translator need to analyzing whether the content of information are equivalent or not. And the last is the translator must make some another comparison of the text in the source language and the target language. And also, and in this part, the translator need to make sure all of the information is included in it. Next is about methodology. In methodology, there are type of research. The type of this research is qualitative research, and according to Densin and Lincoln, qualitative research is focused in involving an interpretative, naturalistic approach to its subject matters. And next is about data and data collection. The step of data collection that I did is identification. And here I've do some close reading that I've read the both of the book, the novel, such in Bahasa, also in English. The entitled to David Mori, that is the original version of this novel, and the translated novel is entitled Selasa Bersama Mori, that already translated by Alektri Kanjono Widodo. And then is data finding. Here, the data that I found is about 13 data, and in this data, I will give some explanation in the chapter 4, but this data is 13 data is from about 30 data. Next is about data analysis. Here in collecting data, the research as a researcher applied several steps to do this research, and here I do the content analysis and the content analysis technique, and here uh, I find about the quantitative description of the manifest content of the communication. And here there are steps that I've make for make some for the analyze the data. I mean to know and understand what is the novel about. And the step that I've do is identify the cultural words, and then I've made some categorization of the word, and defines the procedure that the words is translate. And the next is find the accuracy that's doing some interview with the interviewee. Here, there's a table of the qualitative parameters that is accurate, less accurate, and inaccurate. The score for each is the accurate is 3, less accurate is 2, and the inaccurate is 1. Next is we are going to the discussion. Like according to the Newman categorization of cultural words, there are 5 categorization, and here the researchers that are me, I've already got any words that divide from the 5 categorization, and I already found it, and I will give some, and here I want to explain some about my explanation. The first one is, as you move through time, the source language, as you move through time layer on layer, tender sequoia. The target language dalam perjalananmu, menembus waktu lapis demi lapis, tender sequoia. According to the Newman categorization, this word is, I just focus on the tender sequoia, the sequoia. According to the Newman categorization, this word is including to flora ecology, and the procedure that the translator did is transferred. And the average score is 1.4. According how to I make the average score is I have make a little interview with 5 interviewee, and this score is given by the interview that I was did before. And here tender sequoia is included. Sequoia is included in the category of flora ecology, and sequoia or redwood is the name for trees belonging to the Sequoiaceae subfamily. And the translator use the translation strategy so that the sequoia is still translated into sequoia. And in this word, sequoia has no equivalent word in the Indonesian. And yeah, there's no equivalent word, so this word is inaccurate and give a score of 1.4. However, because of there's no equivalent word that can be explained, can be translated sequoia, so I think here the translator need to change about what is the procedure that the translator will do. Like here, I give a suggestion that the procedure is about a descriptive equivalent, Why? Because in the descriptive equivalent, the translator gives some explanation the meaning of the source language so that it's make easier to the reader can the reader can fully understand the meaning of the sentence. And the word suggestion that I've made is bagai pohon raksasa yang hanya ada di kawasan Taman Nasional California bernama pohon sequoia. And next is I want to explain Connecticut wood. In source language, to a small hotel in the Connecticut wood. Ke sebuah hotel kecil di kawasan hutan Connecticut. According to the Newmark categorization, this word is included in the flora, the category of flora, geographical feature, and the procedure that the translator did is literal translation, and the score of this translation is 2. And when I search further about this word, Connecticut refers to an area in the US. So there's no have people in the target text. The reader in the target text there is in Indonesia. There's no imagine that can imagine what is Connecticut, and that's why Connecticut will create an ambiguity. And here the translator also needs to have a descriptive equivalent to the procedure. So the translator can provide a description for the reader so that the descriptor, the reader can convey clearly about what's the meaning, what is the message from the text. And because of that, this word translation is less accurate and give a score of 2. Thus, the preferable translation for this word that I've made is ke sebuah hotel kecil di kawasan hutan bagian selatan US yang bernama Connecticut. Here I've descriptive that di kawasan hutan bagian selatan US. So the reader from the target text, there is people in Indonesia, can imagine and there's have some knowledge about what is Connecticut. So the message can be conveyed well. That's all for my presentation, and there's references that I've put, and there's some appendix in the last, also the research timetable. I will be complete this proposal from January next year, January, February, March, and April. And there is appendix that I've made, and that's all for me, and thank you and see you.